Indonesia bans gay sex using extramarital sex law, including tourists.
For a year and a half.
It's important that
this law provide an avenue for extortion, for difficult families, parents having LGBT children and want their children to be quote unquote normal, and then use this mechanism to revenge or to raise their anger against their own children. So this is the danger of this law. It is toxic. It won't be enforced broadly. But if you have problems, then there are mechanisms to bring this very private matter into the public domain.
Indonesia's new laws criminalizing premarital sex and cohabitation cannot be broadly enforced due to the sheer population size of the world's third largest democracy, said an analyst. According to researcher Andreas Harsono, the toxic revised bill, however, provides an avenue for extortion and revenge by family members who disagree with a person's lifestyle or choice of partner. Under the new law, people who have sex outside of marriage or cohabit can be reported to the police, but only by immediate family members, such as parents, spouses, and children. Harsono said, quote, "This law provides an avenue for extortion for parents with LGBT children who want them to be so-called normal. They can use this law in revenge or to raise their anger against their own children. This is the danger of this law. It is toxic. If you have problems, then this is a mechanism to bring a very private matter into the public domain," end quote. The law applies to both Indonesians and foreigners alike and will come into effect in 3 years' time. The punishment for premarital sex will be a maximum of 1 year in jail or a fine of US $640. Cohabitation will bring 6 months imprisonment or a fine of 10 million rupiahs. Indonesia, we have to remember this, has the world's largest Muslim population. So there's really nothing that surprising about this. However, if it does come down to tourist dollars, well, we know there are places that we can spend them where we're more welcome.
Oh, well, let me jump right in. Don't go to Indonesia.
Right, don't. Why?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my wife have an understanding that, like, if we're in another country, I'm not married, right? So, what? Don't look at me like that. And so I was like, okay, man, maybe Indonesia would be a good way to go. Hell to the no. I'm not going nowhere near there. I mean, what is wrong with them? And so you guys have 3 years to divorce, folks, okay? In 3 years, this law is going to pass. You know, and I'm always taken back to when I first came out. My mom wasn't a big supporter. We're still working through that. I can see her calling it in. You know, I could see her calling it in because of religious reasons, okay? And so that is crazy that other folks, that LGBTQ plus folks in Indonesia would be subjected to something like that.
We share that experience because my mom, child, yeah, she would call. Did
you say child?
Child. I don't acknowledge that lady. She was my transporter. But yeah, same. She would call it in. She would call it in if it was.
My mom.
What is it? Revenge reporting. Revenge reporting sounds.
My mother called my best friend. I was in high school, and she told everybody she possibly could, and I lost all my friends. And if this existed, I guarantee you that on a bad day, on a day that she took the bottle very seriously, and she was drinking, she would absolutely report at me.
And the worst part is that she, like my mom, would probably get on a soapbox right after and tell others, look what I just did, in case your kids are gay too.
Right.
Do this.
Right.
And this even extends to cohabitation and premarital. Are we living in the Bible days? Like, are we in 2000 BC? Oh my God!
Something like that. It seems like it.
Doing this show tonight in Jakarta. You and I leave. We go. Let's have a a vodka, and we decide. No, let's go back to the hotel, and we have sex. We have violated the law and can be arrested.
Yeah,
that's right.
That is, it is so funny when this story has been in the works, or this law has been in the works for a number of years. It's been postponed and postponed and postponed. I don't quite understand how they got the cojones to be able to do it. a highly sexualized observation of how they got to the point of doing this now, because they've been considering it for quite a long time. It would be laughable. This is ridiculously laughable to think you're going to tell an adult population, Muslim or not, that you're not going to have sex.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's in all factors of this, that's what they're saying. That unless you are legally married, you may no longer have sex in Indonesia. Now, that's not just a gay thing, because
Everybody has sex.
Those heteros like sex too.
like
A lot.
sex
That's
too.
how we got here.
And it's so
That
crazy.
is true. That's how we got
And
here.
that's how we got here. And you know, the other thing that I think is very funny, the critical academic observation is that, well, this won't be enforced broadly. I don't think that that's the point. I think the point is that they want to send a psychological message
Yeah.
of
Right.
fear, that they are creating fear. And gosh, in a weird way, hats off to them in a creative way of trying to stamp out LGBT. Because you can use the hammer and sickle approach of Putin, you're going to talk about Putin tonight, and just go, it's propaganda, banned, period. That's not what Indonesia is doing. Fly all of the rainbow flags you want. Just don't touch him.
Right. Well, how well is this going to execute with you're banding together LGBT with premarital sex, and you have adults who are cops who are going to want to have sex, you know, who are like, I'm not going to enforce this. I want to see how the people come together.
It's impossible. We have. I read a very interesting op-ed on the Indonesian law, and they compared it to Americans' experience with prohibition. People like alcohol, so you can't pass a law that prevents them from doing what they enjoy.
Right.
Now that was alcohol. We're not even talking about sex.
You're talking about bootlegging sex. There you go.
The vehicle.
It's not what they're pursuing, but it's completely unenforceable.
Right.
Jamal and I, tonight in Jakarta, can still have sex.
And hopefully the volcano
Yay.
will erupt.
Ooh, nice.
Oh yay! Ooh.
I mean, it tore
Something's gonna
them up
erupt.
years ago. Maybe it'll tear them up again.
Okay.
Get them straight.
All right. Don't go to Indonesia. I'm a travel supporter.
Why?
Don't go to
Why bother?
Indonesia.
No.
Why
Bother going somewhere where they don't
Exactly.
want
Come
to.
to South Florida.
And I hope somebody, I hope somebody shares
Fort
this
Lauderdale.
in Indonesia, where we're saying in Florida, don't go there. Just flatly, don't
Right.
even consider going there. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.